If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
Man, it's only fitting the first Cup race recap I do back since Kyle Busch's passing would be Michigan, my home race. It's only fitting, too, considering that Michigan was the site of the only time I ever saw Kyle Busch win in person at Michigan in 2011. And also, there was an IndyCar race this weekend. And they somehow got that race in despite it being plagued by rain. And a lot of other racing happening this weekend. So, let's take a look at the racing action this week, including the shit show in Monaco. So we begin with the ARCA race at Michigan, and well, this ARCA race started off with a pretty big headline right off the bat, with Cletus McFarland getting the pole for this race. Cletus even led some laps at Michigan, leading the first 6 laps, before eventually losing the lead to Connor Mosack. And then Mosack dominated a majority of this race until after the scheduled caution, where he would then shortly lose the lead to Jake Bowman, and then Bowman would then lose the lead right before the final caution to Giovanni Ruggiero, and Giovanni was getting some extra track time before the truck race. But Giovanni would get the lead. As soon as he would get the lead, we would have a 4-car accident involving Cletus, and then that crash and caution would bring the rain in, and then the race would end up not restarting. So yeah, with the rain coming in, Giovanni Ruggiero would be declared the winner, so this race only lasted 57 laps. Well, that was pretty anticlimactic. Not really a whole lot happened until the rain came in, and Mother Nature's like, nah, we're not doing this today. ARCA can go to a different Michigan track within the coming weeks. But yeah, that was a pretty boring race. And thank God Mother Nature put everyone out of their misery with the rain. Hopefully this will be the only time Mother Nature interferes with rain this week. Now we go on to the Truck Series race at Michigan, and well, this race had quite a few cautions in it, but it was mainly dominated by the 2 Cup leeches of Carson Hocevar and Christopher Bell. And for anyone wondering, actually the trucks at Michigan do not run restrictor plates. It's their intermediate package. They just happen to be that close and know the draft at Michigan. It ain't restrictor plates, even though the close racing will make you think it is, but no, it is not restrictor plates, so it is not a stupid speedway race. Honestly, good. Fuck restrictor plates at Michigan. It's fucking stupid and dumb. There's a place for restrictor plates. Michigan ain't that place. But of course, Hocevar had to dominate this race and had the lead late, until he would end up losing it during a 2-car truck battle between Kane Honeycutt and Corey Heim. And once Heim got the lead, he would never look back. Even despite Kane Honeycutt's best efforts near the end, it just was not enough to stop Corey Heim, as Corey Heim once again gets another truck win, winning at Michigan, and now ties Ron Hornaday from most different tracks to win at in the Truck Series. Since Michigan was one of the only tracks missing out of the active tracks that Corey Heim has raced on. And now that's off the list. So now in the Truck Series, Corey Heim has now won at every track that he's raced at least once. And for anyone wondering, what does this guy gotta do to get a full-time Cup Series ride? Well, worry no more. As of course earlier this week, Corey Heim's efforts have finally been rewarded. Like, the fact he didn't have a full-time ride this year after his record-breaking truck season was fucking criminal. And the racing gods at Denny Hamster have decided that that was indeed criminal. As Denny Hamlin and MJ decide that they do indeed cash check for winners, and Riley Herbst hasn't fucking done any winning in the Cup Series, except winning in NASCAR. I think. I'm not sure how NASCAR works with Brock Beard, to be honest, but I only just mentioned that for the memes. Even though it's tough to win at that when your main competition is Cody fucking Ware. But yeah, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan have had enough of Riley Herpes spreading his herpes all over the track in the 35, and have told Riley Herpes to fuck off at the end of the year. And taking the 35 car will be Corey Heim in the full-time ride. So yeah, Corey Heim ends up getting a full-time ride with Toyota. Well, so much for that beef with him and Ty Gibbs stoling everything off. Either that or Denny Hamlin told Ty Gibbs to fuck off with the beef and to stop cock-blocking Heim. Don't worry, Riley Herpes. You won't be unemployed for too long, because he's most likely getting that third car at Legacy in the 84. So he'll still be spreading his herpes all over the track in 2027 on. As long as he's still got that monster money, the price will always be right for herpes. Until he gets fuck-tapped into the wall. Speaking of silly season stuff, we're not just done there, because there's some others we have involving Richard Childress Racing. As of course, this is the first time Richard Childress has spoke to the media since Kyle Busch's passing. And of course, Childress announced that originally, this press conference was originally going to be an announcement of Kyle Busch signing an extension to be with RCR in 2027. But of course, that extension won't happen, since sadly Kyle Busch is no longer with us. Sad. But yeah, Busch would have ended up staying with RCR, so that would have took Busch out of contention. Oh, I say that as well. So much for those rumors of Kyle Busch going to the 71 at Spire in 2027. And of course, Childress did talk about how Kyle told Childress that Busch could make the chase if Childress kept giving Busch cars like Busch had the last couple weeks he raced in the Cup Series when he was still alive. It's really tough to say what would have happened if Busch made the chaser, if Busch could have made the chaser or not if he was still alive. In the end, though, we'll never truly know, because Busch never really had the chance to really prove that or not prove that. What a shame. And of course, Childress feeling bad for the entire Busch family, from Samantha to Brexton to Lennox to Kurt, everybody in the Busch family, along with everybody associated with the 8 car and everyone at RCR. Childress even saying that he hasn't slept well lately. Honestly, that's very reasonable for Childress. I imagine this is probably the worst that he slept ever since Dale Sr.'s death. And of course, there have been questions about what happens with Busch's car, which has now been renumbered to the 33, since the 8 will be suspended until Brexton Busch is ready to go in Cup in like 8-10 years from now. And NASCAR has approved the 8 reservation for Brexton, by the way. But in terms of the 33 car, as we've had Austin Hill fill in the car the last couple weeks, Childress has said that Austin Hill will remain in the 33 car for the rest of the year. So in other words, Austin Hill is getting the Kevin Harvick 2001 treatment, whereas Hill will have to run both Cup and O'Reilly the remainder of the season, since Hill is still eligible for the O'Reilly Series Championship this year. But however, Hill is not guaranteed to be in that car in 2027, as the 33 will still be a big ride for 2027, but Austin Hill has the rest of the season to possibly audition for that ride if he wants to have a future in the Cup Series coming up. Of course, there are going to be some names in the running. One of the names that may not be in the running for that 33 car is Jesse Love. Due to sponsorship things due to sponsorship age restrictions where a lot of the sponsors with RCR want a driver above the age of 25, which would make Jesse Love ineligible since he's below the age of 25. But one name that's been rumored on the radar has been Noah Gragson if he gets released from front row at the end of the year. that could be something to keep an eye on. Especially considering that Gregson still has a strong partnership with Bass Pro Shops from O'Reilly and SHR back in the day. It'll be quite an interesting silly season, as the 33 looks like one of the top rides available for 2027. There's also a lot more other question marks for silly season, especially with the 48 car, which we'll talk about another day. But honestly, good to see Childers finally break the silence. Good to see a lot of people break the silence and give thanks to everybody for their love and support. Especially Samantha and Kurt Busch both breaking their silence this week, thanking everybody for the love and support over the last couple challenging weeks from Busch's passing. NASCAR will still never be the same without Kyle Busch, that's for sure. Now we move on to the Canada Series race at Autodrome Chaudière, which, oh, by the way, I forgot that this was a doubleheader this weekend. Usually I've been used to it only being one race, but now it's weird to have it be two races. Bon Dieu! Never mind. No Canada Series doubleheader this weekend. This Saturday. It's been postponed to Sunday afternoon. Well, at least it's still this weekend, but yeah, Mother Nature interfering once again. And also, there will be no practice or qualifying, so the lineup will be set by the rulebook. Which, for the rulebook for the Canada Series, for the first 3 races, it's the owner points from last year, which means Marc-Antoine Cameron's on pole for race 1. And in race 2, the starting lineup is based on fastest lap from race 1. No, the Canada Series don't do that stupid inverted field bullshit that the Cup Series did in the All-Star race at that one time with the doubleheader at Pocono and Michigan and Dover during the pandemic. And some other shit. But yeah, the Canada Series, we ain't like American NASCAR. We have standards here. But don't worry, Canada Series, we won't leave you out in the cold. We'll be back for you later. Now we move on to the modifieds race at Oxford Plains Speedway. And well, this race was the John McKennedy show. Even though Stephen Kopsick led the first 8 laps of this race, John McKennedy would get the lead on lap 9. And once he got the lead on lap 9, he never looked back, leading the last 142 laps. And it was really a race where not a whole lot of action happened, outside of one spin early and a debris caution at the 1/3 mark, as the final 101 laps of this race went caution-free. But yeah, once McKennedy got the lead, he never looked back, and John McKennedy goes on and gets the win at Oxford Plains Speedway. And that helps his championship bid too, as John McKennedy now gets the 3rd in the points, 9 points, now behind Stephen Kopsick in the championship. As we're nearing the midway point of the modified season, so we're starting to get the championship battle figured out to see who the true contenders are and who the pretenders could be. It'll be interesting to see how this modified championship goes down. But once again, shaping up to be an exciting battle. Once again, season-long points for the win, baby. Now we go to the ARCA West Series as they head to Tri-City Speedway. And of course, Tri-City Speedway, it's in the shape of a triangle. It's a smaller, flatter version of Pocono, aka a Pocono for ants. Yes, if you understand the Derek Zoolander reference. If not, fuck you then. But yeah, pretty much Tri-City is what Pocono would look like if we took all the banking away from Pocono. Actually, Turn 2 and 3 in Pocono are kind of flat, to be perfectly honest. Most of the banking at Pocono is in, Turn 1. But, yeah. Also, kind of fitting how we're making these Pocono jokes concerning the clerk. That's where the Cup Series goes next week. But yeah, for Tri-City, it was mainly just a 2-car battle throughout the race between Trevor Huddleston and Cole Denton. And Trevor had the better car in the first half of the race, but Cole Denton was better the longer the run went. So for Huddleston to have a chance, he would need to cut some short runs at the end to have that happen. In the end, that wouldn't really happen, as Cole Denton would lead the final 38 laps in the final 43 lap run to the green flag. And once Cole Denton got the lead from him for good on the final run, he never looked back, as Huddleston could not get back to him as the race had a long run. And Cole Denton goes on and gets the win at Tri-City Speedway. So Cole Denton gets the win and gets himself a little closer in the ARCA West Championship fight. So yeah, this ought to be an interesting championship fight, as someone has stepped up to the plate to make sure that Trevor Huddleston doesn't run away with this ARCA West title. Can Cole Denton make a serious charge, or will Trevor Huddleston claim another ARCA West title? Tune in this fall to find out. But yeah, honestly, out of a lot of smaller races, this is probably the more action-packed one. Jeez. Can't say that about a certain Crown Jewel race across the pond we're about to talk about next. I'll be honest, in terms of Monaco getting kicked off the greatest weekend in motorsports with the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 and get swapped from Montreal, I'm going to say this for about the FIA here. As much as they fucked up the sport a lot the last couple of years, they did nothing wrong with the scheduling thing to take Monaco off the weekend of the Indy 500 and Coke 600. FIA did what they had to do to have even a slight chance at putting on a good product on that day to compete with IndyCar and NASCAR, because they sure as hell don't get that with Monaco. Because even with this new car, I can still confidently say that Monaco is still the worst track on the F1 schedule. Like, here's F1. You have good tracks. Then you got crap tracks. Then you got a 50-foot barrel of dog shit. And then you got Monaco right below that. And we're still stuck with Monaco for about the next decade, because fuck my life. But of course, in this race, literally nothing happened. Except at the start, but when Kimi Antonelli got a pretty easy launch from pole, after Max Verstappen stalled his car about 20 feet past the start line, and then broke the engine. As pretty much whoever got the good start at the start of the race usually wins the race, because you can't pass at Monaco with this crap car. Like, Jesus Christ. Ever since we got into the wider cars since, like Monaco hasn't really been good since the mid-2000s. Like, since 2010 on, Monaco's been one of the worst fucking races on the calendar. Just an absolute travesty. Like, F1 did nothing wrong kicking Monaco off the greatest Memorial Day weekend. FIA did what they had to do. But yeah, and of course, this race though, FIA got so fucking fed up with how boring this race was. They tried to spice it up by throwing a penalty galore everywhere, with multiple drivers getting speeding penalties. Beep, 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 beep. Which was very confusing with how the rev monitors and everything, and how all the computer shit on it. But it's mainly the main culprits of the speeding penalties would be George Russell, Pierre Gasly, and Lewis Hamilton getting penalties. And Russell getting a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for not serving his speeding penalty correctly. But of course, the big turning point would be in the closing laps, where we have a safety car for the window licker Lance Stroll crashing into the wall. And other news, grass is green. But then on the safety car restart, we then have Charles Leclerc do his best Lance Stroll impersonation, as he would shag it into the wall in his home race, in the exact same way the window licker crashed out. And Leclerc does his best Lance Stroll impersonation and crashes out of Monaco, bringing the safety car back out. And actually bringing the red flag out as part of the track tarmac came up from the track. So yeah, just when Monaco can't get any worse, I know what you're saying. Oh, surely there was no way Monaco can get any worse, right? Oh, there is ways. I mean, also adding the fact that this race is still in the daylight, which makes it look even more dog shit. And then, but in the end, we would end up getting an 8-lap shootout to the end. And when the 8-lap shootout, and Kimi Antonelli beat Lewis Hamilton in the turn 1 off the start, and then Kimi ran away from Lewis. And Kimi Antonelli goes on and gets his 5th consecutive win, winning the Monaco Grand Prix, and becoming the youngest driver to ever win the Monaco Grand Prix at age 19. Yeah, keep in mind, he's this good, and he's only 19 years old. The future in F1 is officially here. Kimi's also the youngest driver to ever win 5 races in a row in F1. And if he keeps his pace up, he is on track to become the youngest F1 champion all time in F1 history. Right now, the current youngest champion is Sebastian Vettel back in 2010. And Kimi Antonelli is on the way to dethrone Vettel for that record. Hey, as they say, records are made to be broken. But yeah, it's crazy how good he is at age 19. Jesus Christ. And of course, even though Verstappen did not get on the podium, Isaac Ajara would avenge him. And Isaac Ajara would show that he would not be cursed by the second Red Bull curse, as he would end up getting the podium after Pierre Gasly's 5-second penalty gets him off the podium. Also, as George Russell also had a chance, but with that 10-second stop and go he got for not serving the speeding penalty correctly, beep, that took him out of contention. And just when it looked like in the top 10 that Sergio Perez was finally going to get Cadillac their first points in F1, only for F1 to say, hold up, we got a penalty, beep, because Perez did not line up in his restart box correctly on the red flag restart, so Perez gets a 10-second penalty, knocking him from 10th to 15th, which means Fernando Alonso gets 10th, and he gets the first points for Aston Martin this season. But yeah, what a fucking shit show Monaco was. Race was absolute dog shit. You still can't pass even with this new car in the hybrid era. And they even had the track starting to come apart and more questions than answers. And why do we still keep coming here? Because the fucking Monaco window lickers will say, oh, Monaco's not like any other race. It's a spectacle, please. My flaccid penis is a spectacle. And it's not really a spectacle when it's an absolute fucking dumpster fire of a race. Like, F1 would be a lot better off if we stopped going to this dump of a track. I'd rather get a fucking car here where you can actually fucking pass at this dump. Like, I'll be honest, Monaco should no longer be the most prestigious race on the calendar. That honor should go to whichever race is on Memorial Day weekend, which is now Montreal. So I, C of the Rad, propose that we now make the Canadian Grand Prix F1's biggest crown jewel race of the schedule, to replace Monaco. It is time to get rid of Monaco as tradition, and to start a new tradition. I mean, if you really want to back up Monaco being a spectacle, then run the damn race at night if it's no longer going to be on Memorial Day weekend with the Indy 500 and Coke 600. Like, I don't know why Monaco isn't run at night. It would honestly make Monaco better if you run at night. I mean, you can race Monaco at night in the fucking F1 video games. So why not just hit full send and do it in real life? I mean, night races are fucking cool, especially on street circuits. I mean, it's the main reason why a lot of people like Singapore, because without Singapore being at night, that race would suck ass. Same deal with Vegas, same deal with Saudi Arabia as well. But yeah, just my 2 cents. Honestly, I don't know what you really could do to fix Monaco. Like, at this point, we're just throwing shit at a fucking wall to see what sticks and trying that. And honestly, I want to throw the shit of Monaco at night at the wall and see if that sticks. And if that sticks, we should just do that from now on. Plus, I've raced the Monaco at night in the video games, and I'll be honest, Monaco at night is fucking cool. And if you disagree with me, then you're a bad person that needs to go to hell. Alright, now take 2 with the Canada Series at Chaudière for the doubleheader. So for race 1 of the doubleheader, it was completely dominated by Marc-Antoine Camirand. Even despite the best efforts from Donald Teach in the late going, he just could not get the Camirand on the final restart. Camirand goes on to get the win. We'd also have some pretty chaotic crashes in this race, but it was pretty tame for the most part. Usually doubleheaders, race 1 is always the tamer one. Race 2, though, has always usually been the nuttier one, too, because everyone usually saves their stuff up for race 1 because the car you run in race 1 is the same car you have to run in race 2. Except for LP Dumoulin, as his car was fucked beyond repair. And they did not bring a backup car. But a Dodge team did lend him a backup car, and that would be DJ Kennington. As they lend him one of the backup cars, they just have to change the number. And dear Lord, that is probably one of the worst 47s I've ever seen in my life. Like, Jesus Christ, that is so fucking bad. Also, it's kind of weird and fucked up to see a Castrol Dodge in the Canada Series that isn't a DJ Kennington 17 car. Like, a 47 Castrol Dodge looks so fucking wrong in so many ways. Like, honestly, that just makes me want to fucking vomit. But sometimes beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, to race 2, though, even despite a little more chaos in this race, it was pretty much like race 1. Camirand dominated, and despite Donald Teach's best efforts, he just could not get the Camirand. Wash, rinse, repeat. And Marc-Antoine Camirand goes on and sweeps the doubleheader at Chaudière. So Camirand has now won the doubleheader and reestablishes himself as the frontrunner on his quest for the three-peat in the Canada Series. To be perfectly honest, he should be 3 for 3 this year, because he would have easily won CTMP if he didn't fucking fumble it on the restart like a dumbass. But hey, he gets redemption with the doubleheader sweep in Chaudière. And of course, the Canada Series is off for a couple weeks before they head out east to Riverside for the race in Nova Scotia for the East Coast swing. But yeah, it's looking like Camirand domination is back on the menu. Let me mention this. Camirand would have 4 championships in a row right now if it wasn't for Train Lapcevic's 2023 season. So for all the Camirand haters that are about to cry about Camirand's dominance, Gabor fans, I just want to mention, it could have been worse if Lapcevic's 2023 season didn't happen. Just gonna throw that out there. Alright, now it's time for our co-main event. Yes, it's pretty weird how my home race is not the main headline of this week. Hey, I don't make the rules here when it comes to IndyCar scheduling. I'm just a hard ass that just does what the schedule says. But yeah, this is not the main event and the focus of this recap. But I mean, Michigan, it was a very chaotic race. I mean, there were a lot of comers and goers in this race. You had the HMS cars of Larson and Elliott up front that dominate most of this race. You had Bell up there. You had Reddick dominate the early portions of this race too, until Reddick got taken out in a massive 9-car pileup on a restart near the end of stage 2. And he got fucked hard too when Austin Dillon slammed into him. It was an absolute shit clusterfuck and an absolute fuckfest on the front stretch. Mainly started by Hocevar running over Nemechek, and then all hell broke loose. Also adding the fact that on that same restart, Larson was trying to hold the inside lineup. They had Glad Elliott by in a little HMS Team Orders gentleman's agreement. Pretty weird. It's pretty rare to see HMS do team orders. Usually HMS don't do team orders often. It's usually every man for himself at HMS. So yeah, that's kind of odd. And of course, Hamlin was supposed to start this race on the pole, but he had to go to the back front and approved adjustments. Hamlin would slowly work his way up through the field throughout this race. And of course, Elliott looked like he had the car to beat until Suarez got the lead on a restart, and then on one of the restarts, Elliott would get a little greedy in turn 3. He'd get loose and then slam straight into Bell. And then Bell smashed the wall hard in turn 4 at Michigan. Even bent the fucking wall. Like, he hit that wall a ton. And I'll say, it was good to see both Elliott and Bell get out of their cars. Even though Bell is a bit banged up. Prayers to Christopher Bell, by the way, since it's been revealed that he suffered wrist and ankle injuries. And he left Michigan in a cast. So yeah, his status for Pocono in doubt. I imagine he'll race through that pain. I mean, for fuck's sakes, Connor Silage rode away race last year, like not even 2 weeks after a broken collarbone surgery. I mean, if Silage can race through that, then Bell should have no problem racing through wrist and ankle injuries. I mean, for fuck's sakes, Truex even ran a race with a broken wrist in 2013. Hell, even Carl Edwards ran a race in 2009 with a broken ankle. Hell, Edwards even won an O'Reilly Series race in 2009 with a broken ankle. He just couldn't do his signature backflip after. Because, yeah, it wouldn't be smart to do a backflip with a broken ankle, especially because it's hard to land a one-foot landing on a backflip. You kind of need both feet to stick the landing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see this week what happens with Bell. And then we had another big crash with the midfield in the back. But of course, on the final restart, Denny Hamlin would get past Hocevar and company. And once Denny Hamlin got the lead, Hamlin never looked back. As whatever adjustments the 11 team made for that final run, it worked. Because once Hamlin got the lead, he pulled away. As Hamlin would go on to win this race by 11.11 seconds. How fitting. Especially considering that, earlier this week, Ned Jarrett passed away earlier this week at age 93. And of course, Ned Jarrett is the OG 11. And Denny Hamlin, that's one way for him to pay tribute to Ned Jarrett. Winning by 11.11 seconds. In the 11 car. That's also the largest margin of victory in the next-gen era. And the largest margin of victory in a cup race. On an oval. Since Truex at Fontana in 2018. Not the largest margin of victory in the next-gen era. Because the largest, I think, was like 17 seconds last year with SPG at Mexico last year. Because SPG had like a couple races where he won by like 10, 11 seconds last year on the road courses. With him being road course god. But yeah, and also with Hamlin getting this win, this is also Hamlin's 63rd career win. Which means, holy shit, I didn't think Hamlin was going to do this soon. I know it was going to take a cup about a month or so before Hamlin would accomplish this feat. But it has happened. Hamlin has officially tied Kyle Busch for 9th on the all-time wins list. And of course, Hamlin took a page out of history as Hamlin would celebrate with a Kyle Busch 18 flag. Kind of a crossover flag because the 1 in the 18 was the JGR1 font. And in the 8 was the font Kyle Busch had with RCR during Busch's final years. So taking the two and combining them into one. And honestly, I think it's better that it was the Kyle Busch 18 flag. Since a lot more people associate 18 with Kyle Busch than 8. 8 is more associated with Dale Jr., to be honest. Like, if Busch was any number, it was either a toss-up between 18 or 51. He's definitely more worthy of the 51 than Cody fucking Ware, that's for sure. But yeah, of course, Hamlin doing it, and of course, the Amazon booth went silent to give Hamlin and everybody their moment. To pay tribute to Hamlin, to Kyle Busch, and Ned Jarrett. It's like, yeah, the NASCAR community has been through the ringer the last month or so. With Busch's passing, and now Ned Jarrett's passing. At least Ned's doesn't hurt too much. Since, he was 93 and died of natural causes in a died peacefully. I'll say for Ned is he definitely lived a full, great life, filled it to the extent. But yeah, still a big blow. But yeah, what a way for Hamlin to pay tribute at Michigan to Kyle Busch and Ned. As Hamlin continues to make history, he also knocks a big chunk of the point of his points lead to Reddick down with Reddick's crash out. So yeah, now that gap is now 52 points between Reddick and Hamlin for the regular season championship lead. And that becomes important for the next 2 weeks. Because remember, after San Diego is the in-season tournament. And they changed the seeding procedures this year, as it's no longer results-based from Michigan, Pocono, and San Diego. It's now the procedure is the top 32 in points after San Diego. And seeding is based on where your point position is after San Diego. So right now, Reddick and Hamlin the next 2 weeks are battling for the 1 seed in that tournament. For the in-season tournament. But yeah, Hamlin gets another win. Like, it's just crazy how much adversity Hamlin's battled the last couple weeks. Like, all 3 of Hamlin's wins this year, Hamlin had to battle some kind of adversity from the back. Because Vegas, he got to go to the back from a speeding penalty, came back and won. Nashville last week, he jumped the start of the race, had to go to the back, worked his way up and got the win. And then, of course, Michigan, twice at Michigan, he had to come from the back. Of course, he had to start at the rear for an unapproved adjustment after repairing the diffuser from damage in practice. And, of course, Hamlin was also part of that 9-car pileup, Reddick pileup at the end of Stage 2 on the restart from Hocevar committing full terrorism. And Hamlin came all the way back from that to win by 11 seconds. And, of course, a lot of fans, of course, are going to say it's rigged and the 11 team cheated and that this is part of the lawsuit settlement. Oh, now it's Hamlin that's benefiting from the lawsuit settlement. First, it was Tyler Reddick when Reddick won 5 of the first 9 races. Now, all of a sudden, it's NASCAR favoring Hamlin for the lawsuit settlement. Because Hamlin's won back-to-back races. Listen, I have my moments, but never will I sink to this level of retardation. Like, Jesus Christ, some of the Darfs in this community don't even fucking try with this retardation and their stupidity. And let me re-educate some of these dipshits and all the Hamlin haters. No, Hamlin and the 11 team didn't cheat. Because everyone asks, how can Hamlin's car look bad for 160 laps and then be good in the last 40? Well, you see, folks, Hamlin's team the first 160 laps, they did this magical thing that good teams do called adjust the car, where they made adjustments to make the car better. And it was on full display in the last 40 laps once he got clean air in the lead and never looked back. So yeah, and last I checked, you're allowed to make adjustments to your car during the race, as it's not illegal or in the rule book. Like, honestly, like, it's pretty obvious that reading is definitely not this fan base's strong suit. Because the only time the Hamlin haters ever read the rule book is whenever it benefits them. When it doesn't benefit, they act like it's some new foreign concept to them. Although NASCAR doesn't do a good job of illustrating it, I'll give that. Like, the only time I ever really truly see sections of the rulebook is if Bobby Pockrass shares it on Twitter. Whenever the fan base acts retarded and Pockrass gets fed up with the fan base's bullshit. But yeah, no, Hamlin isn't cheating. Hamlin is just him right now. Probably one of the best things going in NASCAR right now. But yeah, maybe Hamlin might be the guy to beat this year and not Reddick. As Hamlin's starting to find his groove recently. As maybe Hamlin still has one more championship run left in him. I swear to God, if Hamlin doesn't win the title this year, he might legitimately be the most cursed driver in NASCAR history. Especially with how much adversity he's had to battle through since the offseason last year, when he lost the title last year in the most brutal way possible, and then add in Hamlin losing his father in the offseason right before Christmas. Like, Hamlin's battled a lot of adversity. And that battling through adversity is going to pay off big dividends later on in the season, when we get to the chase. Since usually the strongest teams in the chase, usually tend to be the ones that can persevere through the most adversity. But a lot will be decided coming up in those weeks. But before we finish this recap off, we still got one more race to do. As of course, we have the IndyCar race at Gateway on Sunday night. Why the fuck was this race on a Sunday night? Like, if they want a night race here, they should have just ran on Saturday night. Like, at least last year when it was on Father's Day, it actually made sense to run on Sunday night. But it makes no sense to do it on a non-holiday Sunday night when everyone's got to be up early for fucking work in the morning. Like, it's plain fucking stupidity. Like, if you want to run a night race on a non-holiday weekend, run it on a fucking Saturday night, damn it. But anyway, this race was mainly dominated by Marcus Ericsson in the early portions. We even had not one but 2 red flag breaks for rain throughout this race. But of course, IndyCar announced that there was no curfew at Gateway. But we were all fearing the worst because it is Fox. And everyone had Vietnam flashbacks to the 2024 Coke 600. When Fox called the race prematurely, mainly because Fox got butthurt, they lost the rights of the Coke 600 to Amazon Prime. But Fox decided that they were not going to repeat that mistake again, since Fox remembered, oh yeah, we give more of a shit about IndyCar than we do about NASCAR. I mean, when you compare IndyCar broadcast to NASCAR broadcast, I tell no lies there. Because nobody has ever truly lied in the history of the internet before. But anyway, when we did get racing, knew Josef Newgarden would come to life in the second half of the race, as he would get the lead from Marcus Ericsson, and despite Ericsson's best efforts on the final run, after the red flag, he just could not get to Newgarden, and Josef Newgarden once again gets another win at Gateway, gets his second win of the year, to try and reestablish himself and try and bring some life back into his hopes for the championship. Although, to be honest, I don't think anybody really has any hopes in the championship right now with Alex Palou's domination. But at least this week we get a break from the Palou domination, and we get the reincarceration of Josef Newgarden's oval track supremacy. As yeah, once again, Newgarden shows why he is him on the oval tracks. Even though it wasn't a dominant win, Newgarden showed up when it mattered and got the job done. The fact that they still got all 260 laps in is crazy. All I say to IndyCar is, don't run this race ever again on a Sunday night. It was fucking stupid. Unless it's a holiday weekend, then maybe do it. If it's a non-holiday weekend but you want to run it at night, then run it on fucking Saturday night, damn it. Like, running on Sunday night on a non-holiday weekend when everybody's got work in the morning is flat out fucking retarded. But hey, it was still a solid race, all things considered. Even despite IndyCar's stupidity with the scheduling. Like, even though IndyCar has had some positives throughout the last couple years, ever since going to Fox and getting and the ratings going up, there's still a lot of things IndyCar needs to improve on. Like, there are a few things IndyCar needs to get their shit together on. Definitely some scheduling decisions for sure. But hey, it was a solid race, all things considered. And Gateway. And hey, the fans got their green flag finish in the end. But yeah, that wraps it up, as the next IndyCar race won't be for a couple weeks till they go to Road America. But yeah, that wraps it up for this week's recap. Don't worry, the recaps will be back next week. As in terms of the next Cup race recap, see you all next week for Pocono. I'm out.